So I bought a used long arm frame on Facebook Marketplace for $25. So someone on Instagram actually posted it saying, if you live in the area, this was a great deal, go check it out. So we did. I thought for $25, you know, even if it's a piece of junk, it's only $25. The people who sold it to us were selling it for a friend. They didn't even know what it was. It was in pieces. They thought it was a little Gracie quilt frame. They knew the carriage was broken and it was basically unusable. So we went and picked it up, came home, started building it with a YouTube video for the little Gracie, and realized quickly that is not what it was. It's actually the Grace king size frame. Sam helped me put it together. We got it all put together, realized how huge it was. This thing is 132 inches long. And then we also knew that, like I said, the carriage wasn't working. So we sat on it for about a year because I wasn't sure if I wanted to put the money into it to buy a new carriage. They're not cheap. So here's the carriage it came with. It's missing a wheel. This side doesn't have it. So I've looked all over the place. Literally all over the place. I cannot find a wheel for these. Watch me be able to find one now. It's basically useless without the carriage. The carriage is the thing that the machine slides on back and forth and it rolls on tracks, and then there's also another carriage that goes on top called the top plate that the machine actually sits on. I didn't have either of those pieces. The combined total for those pieces is about $350 plus shipping, which is like another $50. So you're looking at about $400 to put into this frame, which I wasn't even sure I was going to use. Cut to this year when I suddenly got a little hair and decided, you know what, I do want to use that frame. It's been sitting in my basement for about a year and a half, a year and a half, a long time. So I decided, you know what? I'm either going to use it, or worst case, I'll buy a carriage for it and then I'll resell it for a little bit more and get my money back. So I got this and I got this, and together they made this. This is the thing that the machine sits on. It can roll back and forth. It can also roll side to side. And that is what gives you that nice, smooth quilting motion. The next step is to install the carriage. And so we assembled the bottom plate. It was super easy. All I had to do was line up the tires so they rolled nicely along the track. Then I had to assemble the top carriage, making sure that it was all steady. All I had to do was set it on top of the bottom plate, and then it was time to install my Juki onto the carriage. There's also these little clamps on the side that hold your machine in place, so it doesn't go flying off there if you get super crazy. And now she's rolling. And I can do it from the front, or I can hold on back here and do it from the back. Now we need to replace the bar, and you're supposed to put the machine all the way to one end, and I think we're good to go. So it also came with this giant pole with a tape measuring thing like glued to it. I'm not exactly sure what it is, other than maybe to keep track of where you are. The one is in the middle here, and then it goes out from there. So maybe it's to keep track of, maybe it's to keep track of that your quilt is centered on the thingy-majigger. Also, my frame came with these. I'm not sure what these are. I think it's a side tray. If you know, let me know in the comments. The lady I purchased this from had pre-labeled all of these bars so that I know where everything goes, so that was handy. So after I put it all together, I decided that my machine was too far back, so I just adjusted it so that it was forward a little bit more so I could have some more quilting area from here to here. I think that's gonna work good. I just need to replace out my foot and we'll be good to go. So I'm basically ready to get started quilting. I need one more piece that should be coming today. It is the speed control. The speed control is basically something you put on the handle so you can run your machine on and off, start and stop your machine with your hand instead of your foot, because it'd be really hard to run a foot pedal while you're walking back and forth on a long arm machine. So that's coming. I also have some fabric leaders coming, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and set it up with some test fabric and batting just so that I can try it out as soon as that gets here before I work on my actual quilt. Also, if you have any tips for beginning long arm quilters, leave them in the comments below, because I've never done this before. This is gonna be a first. You guys are gonna see it here on this video. I've quilted on my Juki for a long time, but never on like a long arm situation. But so far, for about $525, I think we're looking pretty good. Worst case, if I don't like it or I'm just really bad at it, I can resell it and still make my money back. But I think I'm gonna love it. So my leader fabric isn't quite here yet, so I'm really excited though, and I wanna try it out, so I may have used a little bit of masking tape. Don't come after me. I know that's not how it's supposed to get put on there, but so far it's working, and I just wanna give it a little bit of a try. Now we wait for UPS. Just kidding, I should probably read this. Okay, so this is what I was waiting for. Cord, speed control. The speed control is this little gadget right here that's gonna allow me to run my machine from my hands instead of my foot pedal. This is the last thing we're waiting on, so let's go give it a try. All right, I think this is how it goes on. We've got our on, off, our pulse. This is speed knob, and then this says cutter switch, so that's super cool. I hope that works. So I think this plugs right here. I'm just gonna weave it around this, and then it just plugs in right back here where your foot pedal normally goes. Try and do this one-handed. There we go. Then we just turn on our machine. So here's the thing. Normally I'm teaching you guys how to do stuff, tutorials, encouraging you, inspiring you to try something new. Today you're watching me try something new, and could go either way. My machine cord isn't very long, so extension cord, hopefully we don't blow up. So I started out with some little simple swirls, and then I went into spelling my name. I watched a YouTube video and they suggested starting out with your name because it's something you're really familiar with. This is so much more fun than trying to move it around with my hands and whatever. I'm here for this. I'm here for it. A few days later, my leader fabric did show up, and so I was able to load my machine properly and put the quilt that I've been working on it for a little bit of sampling. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous on this, and it definitely took me a couple times to get it loaded correctly. Once it was all loaded, I went ahead and just dove right in and went for it. I did a standard meander because that's also something else I'm really familiar with doing. That's kind of my go-to quilting, and so that's what I thought it would be best to start out with this. I think I actually did really good, but it was a challenge getting used to the distance that was available to me for quilting because my Juki just doesn't have that large of a throat space when it's put on a long arm. But all in all, I think it went pretty well. Dude, this is epic, except I can't go far enough. That's why people buy the big ones. Cut to a few weeks ahead, and a friend of mine actually texted me and said, hey, I know you just got a long arm. Are you interested in my Juki? She had a TL2200 QVP Virtuoso machine that she was no longer using. And of course I said, yes, I'm interested in. So she shipped it out to me. She gave me a great deal on it. Unfortunately, UPS dropped it in shipping. So I did have to take it in to get serviced. They made sure it's all working great though, and she's ready to rock and roll. Here's the little sample they stitched, and it looks great. So I'm really excited to get started. I am waiting on one part. I need the thread stand that goes right here to hold my thread, and then we are going to be ready to get going. I have a couple quilt tops upstairs just waiting. My TL2000 has a throat space of about 9 by 7 inches. This one is double that, 10 by 18 inches, so lots of room to work. This one has quite a few other features as well. You can cut your thread, you can change some of your settings here, needle up, down. You can also change your lighting, which is awesome. I need to read a little bit more about these, but it does have a couple different modes that you can stitch in. So this is cruise, which I believe means the machine just keeps going, but it is a stitch regulated mode. Precise, meaning I think it stops and starts with you. So if I stop, it stops. If I go, it goes. And the faster I go, the faster it goes. It's also got basting mode, and then it's got manual mode, which is basically just like stitching on my Juki TL2000. So definitely a little bit fancier in this area. So as soon as that thread stand gets here, I will give her a go. And make sure you're following me on Instagram because I'll probably start posting some of my progress over there. I have a long way to go. I'm definitely a novice at this, but it is so much fun and I'm super excited to get started. So I bought a used long arm frame on Facebook Marketplace. This is probably where that little instruction sheet comes in handy. Look at that. Woo! Fancy. What's up with the hair? We have a slight problem. She rolls backward. My floor must not be level because it won't stay. 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 Plus about $500. What was that? On my table. I've never done it on it's so much fun. I liked the quilting before, but this is so much more fun. Funner, fun, super fun. This is way better. It's way better. All right, more speed. This is fun though, dude. I'm here for it.